start program. So that part is about that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to TecSocial for April 2015. This is episode number 109. I just love saying that. It makes me feel like it's Netflix or something really interesting. Really pleased tonight to have Derek Mombourquette from Island Sandbox. They've been around now for almost a year. Almost a year. And have a really good foundation beneath them now, and they're getting their wings and starting to fly. So he's going to tell us a bit about what they've been up to, some of the things that are in the works and what's planned, and answer any questions that you have. And they're fresh off the One Nova Scotia Hackathon, which was a pretty big deal. It was a province-wide initiative, and I want to see your country. We're going to talk a bit about that, right?
Yep.
Great. So please help me welcome Derek Mombourquette.
Thanks, Bob, and thanks everybody for coming on this beautiful night of a long weekend. It's greatly appreciated. And I'll start off by thanking Bob and thanking Nova Corps for all the support they've been giving to the Sandbox really since the beginning. Bob's been a great resource for me and has been a great sponsor of some of the events, including the recent One Nova Scotia Hackathon. So thank you very much for all your support. So I put a couple of slides together and we'll give an overview of the Sandbox, what it is, where we've been, a little bit about some of the activities that have been happening, and I'll outline the competition that we just had with the One Nova Scotia Hackathon and talk about some of the other projects that we have coming up in the future. So, you know, even when I first started with the Sandbox, I was kind of asking myself the same question, you know, what was the goal for the Sandboxes? They were announced by the province. There was 4 of them, and nobody really knew what they were going to be. As we got going, we started to try to define what the Sandbox would be. It is a kind of an evolving definition, but what we see it as is a center to foster ideas, innovation, and support entrepreneurship amongst our students. And it's a place to collaborate with peers, experts, and academics. And it is a pre-incubation space to support startups. So pre-incubation is key there. We have some space we utilize now at CBU and NSCC. A lot of the startups that come in are very early stage. So we provide we've provided space to some startups, one in particular, but we have a lot that are in and out, just kind of utilizing space when they need it. So they're not an established spot on campus. So just a little bit about the Sandbox. It's funded by Nova Scotia Labour and Advanced Education. It's a 3-year pilot project, $150,000 a year for each year. Runs till March 2017. Breton University is the lead, with Nova Scotia Community College Marconi as a partner. And we have a student, faculty, and staff is kind of our primary focus. We also have a very strong K-12 focus that I'll talk about, and our mandate is island-wide. We have 3. Each Sandbox has, when they were announced and when they were designed and when the proposals were written, they all have kind of some key areas that they want to focus on. For example, St. Mary's Sandbox is a community sandbox. It has a strong partnership with NSCC and some other institutions involved in that field of study in Halifax. Dalhousie has an ICT sandbox, very tech-driven. And we have 3 primary focuses that we have. First and foremost is clean technology. We run a lot of our programming, and we'll be running more of our programming through the Assurance Center under Andrew's leadership, Dr. Swanson, and we hope to develop some new and innovative concepts in the clean technology sector. New Canadians. This one is very important. Very important to us, and kind of really is starting to stand out as one of the major projects that will come out of the 3 years of the Sandbox. But we look at the transition from international student to new Canadian entrepreneur. We're looking at immigration policy review right now, how we can support it as a Sandbox, and I'll talk a little bit about it later, but there is a research project ongoing led by Dr. Danny Brown and the Shannon School of Business to look at, with support from NSCC Marconi, to look at that transition from international student to entrepreneur. And the third one, social innovation. We have strengths in social entrepreneurship, community economic development, heritage and culture, building a strong relationship with our faculty and staff at CBU and our research department. We want to have a significant focus on sustainable food, energy, and housing. And of course, we want to do whatever we can in the community to support our local entrepreneurs. Just a couple of picks. The Assurance Center, we are awaiting the final drawings for our location. Right now, we do a lot of our programming at CBU and NSCC Marconi, so we're constantly moving back and forth. We are going to have a permanent home probably by the end of the summer. This space, when you come in from the outside of the Assurance Center, that's going to be transformed to be the Island Sandbox. It's going to be an open concept. It will be geared towards people who need to go in, pre-startups. We'll have lots of internet capability. We'll have a lot of power. You know, we're working on the design now. We had a few designs come through, and we received some great feedback from students during the Startup Cape Breton. So our design changed a little bit, but it'll be an open concept. It will be open for the community to use. As well, this is one of the lecture theaters off to the side that we'll be using to run some of our programming. NSCC also has some great space in their School of Business Center. They have some great smart classroom technology that we've utilized for the hackathon and for some other events. So that's our space. Our leadership team, you're probably very familiar with, Dale Keefe. He's now confirmed as the VP Academic for CBU. He's kind of my day-to-day person that I'm dealing with on the project. Dean David Ray, many of you are familiar with David. He came to us about a year ago from the UK, the Dean of the Shannon School of Business. Glenn Turner, another person you're very familiar with. He's my lead at NSCC. He's kind of their champion for entrepreneurship, along with other folks like Mike Kellaway on campus there. So he's our lead at NSCC. Of course, Andrew's with us tonight, Dr. Andrew Swanson, the CEO of the Assurance Center. So that makes up the management team for Sandbox. So just a little bit of where we started and where we are now. We launched in November during Global Entrepreneurship Week in partnership with the Shannon School of Business and Startup Cape Breton. We've held multiple events, either on campus or off campus. We kind of started with Startup Cape Breton 2.0 when we launched. We've had a number of pitch competitions on campus during Global Entrepreneurship Week. We've had speaker series in the past month. We've probably had 4 or 5 speakers on campus talking to students. Our students were involved with a global hackathon back in November, where they were linked with students in China, the UK, Ohio, and where else were we at? And Loughborough University. So we actually won, which was great for CBU. It was kind of like the Sandbox launch and global hackathon, and we're like world champs. So like it was really kind of neat to launch that way. So, and then of course, this week just passed, we had the One Nova Scotia Hackathon. So I want to talk about the One Nova Scotia Hackathon for a second. Now I put these links here, but maybe we'll do that at the end of the presentation, just so people can have a sense of what the students had to accomplish with the hackathon. So the format for the One Nova Scotia Hackathon actually came from Social Storm, which was the global hackathon. The concept was that we would link students, the Social Storm one was to link students all over the world, mix and match teams, mix and match disciplines. So each team was a team of 9. We had 3 from Canada, 3 from the States, 3 from England, or 6 from Canada, or however the math worked out. But so we said we can take that format with the same time zone, eliminating a lot of those logistical issues, and what would it look like in the province. So we approached NSCC and Innovacorp and a few other partners, and people jumped on right away. We had over 70 students register. We had 10 teams compete across Nova Scotia, and the teams were designed using the same format. It was cross-campus. So I can say that the winners of the hackathon were 2 coders from SMU, 1 business from SMU, 1 coder from NSCC Marconi, 1 MBA from CBU, and 1 BBA marketing from CBU. So that's how diverse we made the teams. The whole goal is, and really the goal for the Sandbox in doing that is collision. We want students participating across campus lines. We want students participating across disciplines. And as you'll see at the end, I'll show the videos at the end. You'll see, like, over a 24-hour period at NSCC Marconi here locally, the students had a great time. We had 2 other sites that participated in Pictou and Dalhousie, or not Dalhousie, sorry, St. Mary's. They acted as satellite sites, and the final products were pretty amazing. So that was a pilot. So our goal for the fall would be eventually to move this into 13 campuses with NSCC and the university. So we predict that this could grow as high as 200 to 300 students and possibly 20 to 30 teams. So it was a lot of work. We put it together in 40 days. So now we have a lot more time to work out some of the logistics, and we're going to tighten up some of our policies. But it was a great success. Just to continue on with the presentation before I go back to the video. So just to talk about kind of our current status. Like, we're very active on social media, more so on Twitter than we are on Facebook. We have a Sandbox website that's about to get torn down and rebuilt. So we're excited about that. We're constantly building partnerships. We have a very strong partnership with Ryerson and their DMZ. Early on, they were a great contact for me and a great resource for helping us kind of set some policy for the Sandbox, look at what incubation spaces look like, and kind of, their success story. And we had the opportunity to go out and visit their site and take a look at what's happening with them. And they've been down here once, and I think they're coming down again. Some of the representatives in the fall. So very strong partnership with Ryerson. We're expanding past Marconi. We're moving into the NSCC Strait Area campus. Interestingly enough, I'll make this point. You talk about hackathons and technology, and for the most part, you're attracting business monitor colors. We actually, one of the winning teams, guy drove down from the Strait campus. He was electrical trades, so he participated in the hackathon. So it was kind of neat to have him there. But we're looking at building our programming there. We have a very strong relationship with the NSCC Department of Innovation and Entrepreneurship Office, with Sherry Williams and Jordan Landry and folks in their office. We're reaching out to regional governments. There's going to be a lot of town halls. There's going to be a lot of presentations done over the summer months. Of course, regional funding partners, working with the great folks like Bob at Novacorp, who was there to support us from day one with our hackathon and some other events. And of course, the private sector. So we're not there with the private sector yet, but we're hoping to get there and build some strong partnerships. So to date, this is kind of small, the writing, but to date, there's been strong student interest. We helped Pizza Go a little bit, do some testing on site for their product, but we've had around 13 potential startups come through, 10 domestic and 3 new Canadian for the most part, and they range from clean tech, retail, fishery. It's been pretty awesome to start. Like, we're about 7-8 months in as a program, and we've had a lot of student interest. So this is kind of vague when you look at the presentation, but for us, we've been able to help students. We've been able to direct them to our industry representatives on campus, and in turn have been able to receive some minimal dollars to help them kind of keep their idea going. So they've been coming in. We've been able to help them with business plan development. We've been providing some mentorship, information on municipal planning, policies and other policies of the government, and of course, physical space. One thing we're very proud of now that we've been able to do with some of the startups in partnership with UIT is we've been able to support them to compete across the province. Mark's here from DocMaster, just giving students the information and the ability to go and present. We've had 2 present so far at 2 different competitions, and we hope that that's going to increase as we go. So some of the other post-secondary institutions across the province are happy because there was a little bit of inactivity in Cape Breton for a while, but now it's starting to pick up again. So the students are interested in competing. They're getting to a point where they're comfortable to compete, and moving forward, we're going to do whatever we can to help them with their pitches and strengthen their training. So it's been great. Programming, we've done some programming on intellectual property, lean canvas, and bringing ideas to market. Again, talk about mentorship. We've brought some people on campus in the private sector to mentor students. Some of our startups now are actually, some that are getting to a point that have come through and received some support from the Sandbox or look for support. They're now out in the community looking for private investment. So that's a good sign. We assist, of course, in the startup process and the business development. We have a strong cross-institutional participation. Everything we do at CBU, we do at NSCC. That's the way it is. So the students are engaged at both campuses. If they can't get me at CBU, you're going to get us at CBU or at NSCC. So we're very cognizant of that. And research partnerships, we're starting research partnerships and identifying some opportunities to collaborate with faculty and researchers to assist with funding to move some projects forward. So these 2 things are very new. This one's a little bit more, I guess, more ongoing, but this is kind of independent of our mandate, but something that the government's really interested in. This is doing. We thought it would be a good idea to take each year a couple of topics within our mandate and say, let's engage researchers on campus, let's engage students on campus, and let's look at some of the issues that are coming through the sandbox that are challenges for us to address as we try to get students to that next stage from student to entrepreneur. The first one I already mentioned is New Canadian Entrepreneurship. Aside from Nova Corp and their support through the startup visa, we're starting to see, I've had a number of international students come to us that are looking to start businesses. The three that I mentioned in the slide before are ones that we believe could possibly apply for that Nova Corp program. But there's probably 5 or 6 more that we get to a point where we say, you're a student, or you want to be an entrepreneur, but you're an international student. There's that gray area for us that says, we have to protect the fact that they're students. So they may not meet the technology criteria, but they have an idea. So Danny Brown with the Shannon School of Business is kind of leading the charge on that project with some support from us, looking at that transition from student to local entrepreneur, building some supports in the local community for our international students who want to be an entrepreneur or have entrepreneurial aspirations, and eventually looking ideally to make some government policy recommendations. So that's research project number 1. This one is very new in consultation with NSCC Marconi. They're the lead. We're looking at entrepreneurship in non-traditional programs. So looking at building curriculum in starting with NSCC, looking at trades, building entrepreneurial curriculum into trades. We're hearing stories, and I have friends that I graduated with that are very successful locally in the community here. They decided not to make the trip out west. We want to learn their story. We want to support them as they continue to grow, and we want to provide more entrepreneurial supports and more awareness in some of those programs. So that's very, very early on NSCC Marconi lead, but we're excited about that one. So I'm getting to the end here. So what does the sandbox mean to Cape Breton? We believe that it sends a strong message of the partnership of CBU and NSCC to the Cape Breton community. Both institutions have embraced the sandbox from the beginning. The relationship is strong between both. Both institutions are committed to that cross-institutional participation and success of students, whether they're participating at CBU or NSCC. We believe it's a gateway for our students to collaborate with peers and receive mentorship and support their ideas. We're excited very early on without our physical space yet, but we have a solid presence on campus, and students have been coming to us. So, early on, we're very excited about the response we've been receiving and the interest. And of course, we have a vast amount of expertise between CBU, the Assurance Center, NSCC Marconi, NSCC Central. So we utilize that every chance we get, and we have been able to direct students to receive a lot of support as they move forward. So as well, policy, going back to the research, I'm kind of a policy junkie, so I'm really keen on looking at that international student piece and what recommendations can come under the 3-year project. Of course, new startups, that's the ultimate goal. We want students to transition, and we want them to stay in the Cape Breton community, and we want them to be successful. For us, nobody really ever leaves the sandbox, so we support you, we get you out in the community, we continue to support you as you go, and that's, if that happens for us, that's fantastic for everybody. And we believe it's the first step towards developing an educational framework to support island-wide entrepreneurship awareness, and that kind of goes to our PD12 mandate too as well. We've been really moving into that realm, hosting some TecSocial, some tech camps during our break. We're expanding that into Inverness and into Richmond probably the next 2 months. So we're building our presence across the island, and along with the sandbox, we believe it's eventually going to build into or be the stepping stone for a larger discussion about kind of a center for sustainable entrepreneurship led by the post-secondary institutions. So moving forward, we want to build that island-wide partnership. We believe that entrepreneurship can't be the duty of government alone. We believe that the post-secondary institutions are positioned to lead the charge and build that culture for sustainable entrepreneurship. So I hope that wasn't too much information. I hope it didn't go too fast, but that's my slideshow. But I want to just for a second get out of this, and I want to show you the question that the students had to answer for the hackathon. That's my little girl. So for the reason why we chose the IME report, of course, aside from the fact that it's probably been the most important document that's ever been, in recent years has been developed. We believe it was a great way to expose students to the document and some social questions that really came out of it. So we took the game changers from both.
I am the president and CEO.
So just to kind of a little lead into it. So our hackathons are generally going to be social hackathons. We have that mandate. We have that educational mandate. You know, aside from the startups and what we want to accomplish in the sandbox in that realm, like, you know, as everybody does agree, like entrepreneurship is it's more about, it's not just about starting businesses. Ideally, that's where it will lead. But for us, it's about tackling community issues. It's about, you know, tackling the sustainability of Cape Breton Island. So when the One No Switch hackathon was proposed, we kind of looked at the game changer section of the document. We said, what are some social questions that we want to accomplish? We want students to tackle, you know, for the future of the province. So you'll see here the question was designed, and we had a great partnership with One NS, but it was an education question to start. So I'll show you the video. So.
An integrated online marketing firm operating out of Silicon Valley. As a volunteer member of the One Nova Scotia Coalition, I've been working to develop a 10-year action plan to address the goals in the One Nova Scotia report, or as you may know it, the Island report.
Oh, sorry guys.
There is no silver bullet solution to the challenges we face. The only way we will succeed is if we tackle our problems in a different, far more collaborative way. One NS is thrilled to be part of the first ever One NS hackathon. I'd like to thank you personally for signing up to take on the challenge. This month, our theme is energizing entrepreneurship. The report challenged us to help more kids believe that they can be an entrepreneur and to better prepare them for the knowledge-driven economy. Lots of great initiatives are already underway, including the province's response to the education review and work to bring brilliant labs to Nova Scotia. With that in mind, here's our challenge to you. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to develop a product that provides a distance learning experience for young people, somewhere between the ages of 5 and 16. Your product should ignite their passion for entrepreneurship. So go ahead, let's see if we can make entrepreneur education engaging and fun. Make it fun, Nova Scotia. Good luck.
So that was the question that students had to tackle. Yeah, I'm just going to go back up 1 second. For some reason, everything looks nice. So I'll show you just a quick. This is the.
According to a recent review from the Minister's Panel on Education,
That's actually a second.
there are some critical gaps in the curriculum, including life.
So this video was the winner, and this was designed by students representing, as I said, SMU, MBA CBU, BBA Marketing CBU, NSCC, second year IT. So this was the response to the question. Cross your fingers says no.
What makes a successful entrepreneur?
Successful entrepreneur.
Sorry.
What makes a successful entrepreneur?
Successful entrepreneur needs to be open-minded. Leadership, grit, listening, brave, passion, determination, resolve, hustle, communication skills, possible, perseverance.
How do we help kids learn these skills? Kite Academy presents weekly challenges to kids in the same grades, ranging all the way from grade primary to grade 12. The program is offered as a supplement to in-class learning and can be accessed from your computer online and on your phone. The program will consist of 2 types of weekly challenges. The first weekly challenge pits kids across the province head-to-head with all of them working on the same project. The second one has individual schools competing with each other on larger weekly projects. The students participating in these projects will have the opportunity to both be leaders at some points and followers at others. What do we mean by projects? Projects will be grade appropriate and involve tasks that evolve over time. Tasks for the lower grades will have activities that focus on thinking outside the box. These activities will focus on developing curiosity, creativity, and passion within the students to help them find a drive for entrepreneurship. Tasks for the higher grades will be more complex and involve more analytical thinking, such as creating marketing plans, financial analysis, and consumer research. This will allow the students to compete with each other and learn how to both manage and follow directions with while they're in a team. The end goal of these activities is simply getting them to find solutions to problems, because really, that's what entrepreneurs do. By participating in these challenges, kids can earn points towards redeemable items suited to their age range. Through partnerships with large organizations, such as not-for-profits, corporations, and universities, we hope to develop projects that reflect real-world trends and engage students in a way that a classroom cannot. We look forward to helping students reach for the sky and look forward to creating several generations of entrepreneurs to come.
So, not bad for 24 hours, right? Like that we believe that, we did a debrief. Oh, this is gonna keep going, so I'm gonna stop this. So, initial response has been positive for students. The format isn't designed to be easy with these because we're mix and matching the students all over the province. So we did hear some concerns on there's some challenges with some communication, but all manageable. It was a great success. There's a couple of things that really came out of it that, the shining lights for me were the fact that we pulled it off in 40 days and we had over 70 students across the province registered. One of the big ones for me too as well is that I think, government has a challenge reaching out to rural Nova Scotia. When we announced this, 35 people from picked all registered, right? So, and they were all predominantly like business tourism. So the format worked. So we were excited about it. They were the winners, 24 hours. Actually, it was probably about 21 hours because we gave them a 10 a.m. deadline to get it in. But that was the one Nova Scotia Hackathon. We'll definitely be doing that again, and we're going to be tightening up the policy, and we're open to anybody who is interested in doing something similar. We're here to support you. So I'll stop talking now, and I hope I didn't talk too fast again. But if you have any questions, by all means, fire away.